Let me guess, you live somewhere where 90% of your school owns cows and listens to Morgan Wallen, or maybe you just want something that can tow, go wherever you want, and you don't have to be in danger of an accident since you're like 10 miles off of the ground. Well, boy, oh boy, have you clicked on the right video. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Mark Roden. Welcome back to the channel, and today, that's exactly what we're going over, boys. We got 9 amazing dirt cheap trucks that you can buy today. For if you're in like high school, or if you're just broke like me. I'm not in high school and I'm still broke. I don't have 10 grand, so sad. It's tough out here. But anyway, let's get right into the video. To start us off, I want to talk about a truck that everybody in the goddamn world knows and loves, the Ford Ranger. The Ford Ranger that we're going to be talking about today is the 3rd generation Ranger. So that's from the years 1998 to 2012. Yes, that's an extremely long runtime. And it did come with a bunch of different engine options, but they all can be found for just dirt cheap. So it honestly doesn't matter. Whichever one you want, go for it. The best option, however, in my opinion, is the 4-liter V6 that manages to push out 160 horsepower. It's not a great number, but it's also not terrible either. Keep in mind that this truck was pretty light compared to the other trucks on this list. And no, this truck isn't going to win any like truck polls or rock climbing competitions, but it will win your heart, and that's all that matters. You're gonna fall in love with your Ford Ranger. It's like the Miata of the truck world. Plus, this car was not only offered as a 4x4 like every truck in the world, but it also had a rear-wheel drive only model, which, if you're thinking like I'm thinking, it means a drift truck, my good sir. You can find these for any budget, to be honest, but the sweet spot seems to be right within the $5,000 to $7,000 range. But I hear you loud and clear, my boy. You want a real truck. You want something that towers over the rest of the vehicles on the road. Well, have you looked into the Chevy Silverado 1500 Cateye is what they're calling them, I think? Now, from what I can tell, this is a facelifted 1st generation Silverado, which would mean that it was built from the years 2003 to 2007. And if you can manage to find one that doesn't have like 700,000 miles on the clock and rust falling out of every little crevice, which is going to be a challenge, then you now have access to a 5.3 liter V6 that makes a pretty damn good 295 horsepower. Now, yes, this truck is going to be a bit heavier than the Ranger or like a normal car, but that doesn't mean that you can't modify these things to go fast. It just might be a tad bit more difficult to do so. These trucks also seem to have a pretty good rep in the truck community, so for just under $5,000, not only do you get a decent power, pretty large truck that can like tow things and plow or whatever it is you truck guys need your trucks to do, but it also isn't going to be clowned on in the truck community. And at least I think so. I don't know how the truck guys do it. As far as I know, though, these trucks are pretty well respected. Let's stay within the Chevy family for a minute and talk about a more relaxed, daily drivable truck, the 1st generation Chevy Colorado. This truck came with a pretty odd 3.5 liter inline 5. Yes, this was a 5-cylinder truck, and they managed to make 220 horsepower out of it. And once again, this is a truck that could be rear-wheel drive only. That's some fun stuff right there. Now, you may be asking yourself why I put a Colorado on the list, and the answer is simple. Because they look fun, and I like having fun. As someone who doesn't really have a need for towing, the Colorado seems like a truck that more fits my style. It's more light than these big trucks. It's rear-wheel drive. It costs less money. I found one for $5,500 with some miles on it, yes, but still $5,500 is pretty cheap. And as the picture suggests, these little trucks make for pretty damn good plow trucks too, since they do still have that 4x4 option available if you do need that. And a little known fact for you boys out there, but these trucks are also a great platform for a swap. Right? Isn't that weird? I know your jaw's probably hitting the floor, but look at this freaking LS swapped Colorado. Yeah, this thing has an LS in it.
Dude, that went a lot better than I thought.
But alright, maybe you want something a bit more luxurious, or maybe you just need the extra space. Well, have you looked into the 1st generation Cadillac Escalade?
I put Lamborghini doors on that Escalade. Low pro solo, look like I'm riding.
Now, I know what you're thinking, boys. This isn't a truck, man. This is an SUV. And you're right, but you're also wrong. Yes, it is categorized as an SUV, but it has all the truck characteristics behind it. It's freaking massive, it's 4x4, it likes to get rowdy, and most people seem to turn them into like driving concerts for some reason. Have you ever seen these Escalades, dude? They can be heard from a mile away. It's ridiculous. But the truck comes with a massive 6-liter V8 that makes a massive 345 horsepower, but don't get too excited yet because this truck also weighs 5,500 pounds, so it is not quick at all. but where it lacks in speed, it makes up for in comfort. They are a Cadillac after all, and they were built for those fancy families that never had to hold their dad's flashlight when growing up. Plus, you can find these all day for right around the $6,000 mark. Oh, and they look pretty damn good when lifted. I just wanted to put that in there. I didn't have a good transition into that part, but I just wanted to say it. They look good when lifted. All right, now I want to talk about the classics for a second, because I personally just love classic trucks more than the modern trucks. And what screams I'm stuck in the wild, wild west more than the Chevy C10. The Chevy C10 is a truck that was built for ranchers. This was a time before trucks were built to be daily drivers, and everything about it screams country living, which I personally love. It's just so truck. I mean, if you're gonna commit to buying a truck, you might as well go all the way, dude. You just get the whole get up. It came with a 5.7 liter inline six that made 155 horsepower. Back in the freaking 60s, that was pretty impressive, not gonna lie. Also, they were rear wheel drive, since this was a time before 4x4 or all wheel drive options were really a thing. So if you do decide to like swap this with an LS or something cool, this could be a very good potential, high potential, what is the word I'm looking for? Potential drift truck, that's what I'm looking for. And I know it may be hard to believe, but you can find like a pretty beat up one for only $6,000. And while that may need a decent amount of work, I feel like that's part of the experience with these old trucks, you know, constantly fighting with it to get it to run. Plus, once you do finally get it to run, you have one of the coolest trucks on this list, hands down.
She ain't spinning fast enough. That oil is thick.
But I think it is time to split off from the American-made trucks for a second and talk about the less popular, but still very good, first-generation Toyota Tacoma. The first gen lasted from the years 1995 to 2004, and these trucks were kind of in the same ballpark as like the Ford Ranger or the Chevy Colorado. They're small, low-powered, and built to be fun. Once again, these trucks won't win you any truck pulls or anything, but if you aren't someone who needs a massive diesel to tow around everything on God's green earth, then this will do you just fine. You really don't need to buy yourself a freaking 7.3 Power Stroke just to look cool. It's gonna waste you a lot of money. Plus, you can find these for incredibly cheap. Here's one with only 60,000 miles for $7 grand. But if you want to be a bit more risky, then there are plenty of these with close to 200,000 miles for only $3 grand. And it's a Toyota, so you know that that's going to last. Now, these trucks are more built for the guys who like overlanding, since they did only come with a 3.4 liter V6 that made 190 horsepower, which, as we know, isn't anything really too special to pull things with. I mean, my 350Z could probably pull more than this truck can. But good God, man, I just love these little trucks so much, I just had to put it on the list. But I know you Dodge guys are probably sitting at home right now squaring up with the air because I haven't mentioned a single one of your trucks, but that's about to stop. Let's talk about the third generation Dodge Ram 2500. Now, you guys are gonna have to, you know, excuse me for a minute because I'm not the biggest truck guy out there, but I'm pretty sure that this generation Dodge Ram is commonly like frowned upon and most people don't seem to like it too much. But I personally cannot understand why. It comes with a 5.7 liter V8 that makes a pretty damn nice 345 horsepower, and it absolutely fits the bill for a full-sized truck. While most of the trucks on this list are more on the small side, this one is as freaking manly beef testosterone mode as they come. Plus, in my opinion, they look very good too, especially if you throw a lift kit on it and some tires that make it so that you can't go through tight drive-throughs. I gotta ask that real quick. I don't know, because I don't drive a lifted truck, but there are some drive-throughs where I'm in my freaking PT Cruiser and I'm like, this is too tight. So is there any drive-throughs that you lifted truck guys just literally cannot go through? Let me know in the comments, because I feel like that's a thing. But all jokes aside, they also can tow quite a decent amount and really do everything that a truck guy would need a truck to do. Now, since it does do all those things that a full truck would do, the price obviously isn't going to be the cheapest. Most of the time for a good one, you're looking at just over the $10,000 mark. But if you do decide to buy one with a bit more miles on it, they can be found for right around $8K, which is not a bad deal at all, especially since this is a newer truck. But we must talk about one more small truck that just tickles my fancy whenever I think about it. The first generation Chevy S10. This truck lasted from the years 1982 all the way up to 2003, and so there are quite a bit of these floating around out there. But yes, it did go through a generation change within there, so there's technically 2 generations there, but they're pretty much the same truck. But that's good news for you and me, because you can find them now for pretty much any budget. But the sweet spot seems to be right around the $5,000 mark for something that's not too expensive, but also not too shitty. And if you do manage to pick one up, then you now have a very lightweight truck that was rear-wheel drive and came with a 2.8 liter V6, making only 125 horsepower. Okay, I get it. That horsepower might not be great, but that doesn't mean that the truck isn't great, okay? I know it sounds crazy, but these trucks were an amazing candidate for an engine swap. People put those like old Chevy 350 big block, small block, whatever they're calling them, motors in them all the time, and they turn them into these drag monsters. These trucks seem to be like what the Fox Body Mustang is, but in the truck world, just a platform for an LS. So if you like the Fox Body, but for some reason you need a truck bed as well, pick one up. We are finally at the final truck, and what better way to end off the list than with the legendary Ford F-250 Super Duty first gen. Specifically oh wow, that was loud. Specifically the facelift that happened in 2005 to 2007. These trucks are everything that trucks stand for. They were built to tow, built to be incredibly large, and built to be lifted and looking good. They also came with this insane 6-liter V8 diesel engine that it seems like everybody in the truck community talks about. They also seem to talk about how that engine needs to be bulletproofed though. So maybe the Ford F-250s are a primary target in gang violence or something. I don't know, but just make sure that your Ford F-250 is wearing a bulletproof vest, because they talk about that all the time.
Yo, what up, bitch? You ready to get knocked out, though?
But they are a great truck. This is a truck that may not be the most fun in terms of what like a car guy finds fun, but if you're watching this video, then chances are you find fun in being able to like roll coal on Prius drivers and go anywhere that you want to, and make your headlights extremely bright so that every time you're behind me in my damn 350Z, I can't see a thing. And if you like that stuff, then chances are that this truck is perfect for you. You can find them for right around the $8,000 to $10,000 mark for a decent, light on the word decent one, but expect to pay a little bit over $10,000 if you want one with low miles. I would personally recommend saving up until you have a little bit over 10 grand to buy the better ones though, just because having to bulletproof something, that sounds just bad. I don't think that's a good thing, so you probably want one with low miles. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm not the biggest truck guy, so if I made any mistakes, absolutely let me know down in the comments below, and I will heart the comment. And I can't pin all the comments, but I'll heart it so that people can see it. And I really appreciate it, because obviously this is my first time looking up any of these trucks, knowing anything about these trucks. I tried my best, except for the Ford Ranger. I've known about the Ford Ranger. The Ford Ranger, everybody knows about the Ford Ranger though, come on. So I tried my best, but obviously I make mistakes, especially when it's my first time looking into these vehicles. So, but I think I did pretty good. So let me know if I got anything wrong, or let me know any other trucks that you think are good for under 10 grand. Because there are a lot of trucks out there that are under 10 grand, a lot more than I thought. All right, I'm gonna be surprised. I was like, okay, I'll make like a top 5, and I was like, okay, I can make like a top 9. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I think next week's top 10 budget car video is probably going to be like just reliable cars for under 3 grand. Just reliable, no, not fun at all, just reliable cars to get to work and back on time, because I want to do one of those. I'm also hopefully going to be doing a review on an actual car in real life, which is going to be a blast. Hopefully that can start a whole new series. It would be awesome if it does. If you want me to review your car and you live up in the New England area, absolutely message me on Instagram or email me at, I never check my email, I'm going to be honest. So just message me on Instagram if you can. If you can't, I guess you can email me. Maybe I might check it. I usually don't check my email though. But yeah, wasting a lot of time here. Sorry. Have a nice night.